He wasn't supposed to be watching. He was supposed to be resting, confined to his apartment, his leg broken, his freedom limited to the size of his living room. The world outside moved on without him, while he sat trapped in silence, sweating through the long summer heat, counting the hours until he could walk again. But when you've got nothing to do and nowhere to go, your eyes start to wander. Out the window, across the courtyard, into other people's lives. It began innocently enough. Just curiosity, the kind everyone has but never admits. The newlyweds who never left their room, the dancer practicing alone, the lonely woman setting a table for two, the salesman with his wife who never seemed to smile. Dozens of tiny stories unfolding in windows framed by brick and shadow. He told himself it was harmless or daxon, that watching people was just a way to pass the time. But then one night, something changed. A scream in the dark, a flash of lightning, a man carrying something heavy through the rain. And then silence. The next morning, the bed across the courtyard was empty, the blinds drawn. The woman who'd been there was gone, and the man, calm, polite, precise, began cleaning, packing, getting rid of things. Too quickly, too quietly. It was probably nothing. People leave, people move, people fight. But once suspicion takes root, it doesn't let go. Every detail started to look like evidence, every shadow, every sound, a clue. He tried to tell himself he was imagining it, but the more he watched, the more he became certain. Something terrible had happened. Confined to his chair, he couldn't investigate himself, so he enlisted help. A sharp-eyed woman who cared for him more than he was willing to admit, and a skeptical friend who thought the heat was driving him mad. Together, they began to piece together a puzzle that no one wanted to believe was real. Each night, the tension grew. Every movement in that apartment across the way felt like a heartbeat. Every light flicker, a secret being buried. The man watched from the darkness, camera in hand, heart pounding, certain he was staring at a murderer, and certain that the murderer would eventually notice. And then he did. The hunter became the hunted. The line between observer and participant shattered. The quiet little game of watching turned deadly as the man in the other apartment looked back, not just at the window, but directly at him. There's nothing more terrifying than realizing that the person you've been watching is now watching you. What followed was a night of chaos, a man trapped, defenseless, with nowhere to run, facing the consequences of his obsession. It was no longer about curiosity or justice. It was about survival. In the end, the truth came out. Brutal, simple, undeniable. He had been right, but the cost of being right was nearly his life. When the sun rose over the courtyard, the city seemed unchanged. The neighbors went back to their routines, dancing, arguing, dreaming, living. The world outside the window continued as if nothing had happened. And there he sat again, confined once more, both legs now broken, his window still open to the lives around him. But this time the curiosity was gone. The thrill replaced by something quieter, understanding. Because when you spend long enough watching other people's lives, you realize that everyone has secrets. And sometimes it's better not to look too closely. Can you guess the movie?